The next few months are going to be historic for crypto. I say this as we approach Bitcoin's all-time high. I mean, yes, last few days, yeah, we've been pretty much checking Bitcoin. Bitcoin's approaching $66,000. Ethereum passed 4,000 yesterday. People probably think, oh my God, this is really crazy. It's the all-time high. It's going to be great. I don't think we've seen anything yet, judging by how things are going. Now, this is one of my kind of just candid videos, just telling you guys kind of what's obvious to me. I've been talking about this nonstop on Twitter, but I felt like putting this to video will be great because it'll update you guys on what I feel overall about basically Bitcoin, altcoins, NFT space, and then of course, our favorite, gaming, because all of these are gonna be experiencing some major growth action in the next few months, and I'm pretty excited for it. If it's not obvious enough by the way I talk to you guys, this video is my personal opinion, not financial advice. All right, let's get the elephant out of the room first. Bitcoin. The ETF just passed in the US, and that is one historic moment, right? And I'll just approach it from the angle I take first. Honestly, it's almost like the SEC giving a rubber stamp of approval to Bitcoin and future ETFs. Hear me out on this. In the past, in 2017, ETFs were the number one thing we were talking about. We wanted more investors to come on board, and we're all hyping up for the various ETFs that were being applied for in 2017. Now, the SEC has always come and said, no, guys, too much manipulation going on. The filings, okay, too much manipulation. This asset class is just not cool, not safe. And that was a narrative until now. And suddenly we have this first approval, this first trading of the ProShares ETF. What does that mean? Well, that actually means the SEC is indirectly saying, guess what, guys? Bitcoin, this thing's going somewhere. We'll change our mind on this. That's what the SEC is really saying. It's really telling investors, hey, guess what? We changed our mind. We issued out a few notices, educational material for you guys to see. It's risky still, but now the tone has changed. This is a stark contrast to what's happening in China. China just went straight out banned it, but I can kind of see that it's going to set Chinese development on blockchain back just a couple of years, maybe a decade or so, because at the end of the day, this stuff is groundbreaking. Now, if you go to our favorite chart, this is the Bitcoin rainbow chart. I featured this for kind of a long while on this channel now. What it does is it plots Bitcoin's price in a logarithmic fashion. That's the only way you can put it on a chart, honestly. And it kind of shows the period from 2012 to now. Now you can see that 2020, we kind of took that rally. Bitcoin really rallied up to 50K. And now as 2021 is passing, we're rallying up yet again. But are we in the maximum bubble territory? Are we reaching the maximum of this band? Not at all. I feel like we are just beginning. And yes, we did have a kind of like a false start. We got a little bit dip down, but now we're kind of rallying back up again. And I definitely see, like, you know, this is history. I feel like it's going to repeat itself here. It's possible that we can shoot up to 100K, almost 200K for the price of Bitcoin. And that's when I'm going to be eyeing probably some de-risking strategies at that point. So that's kind of my strategy. We're still, I feel like we're still in the rally. Nothing too much new here at this current point. Now let's get the second biggest elephant out of the room, which are NFTs. This space has just been witnessing the biggest explosion this year from the art space. So right behind me, if you actually see across the border, not the border, the harbor over there, we have the digital arts fair going on in Hong Kong right now. That's pretty much all about NFTs. It's mainstream art festival about NFT. There's auctions on NFTs and the whole price of NFTs are exploding. And quite frankly, at this point, NFTs are just images. They're just JPEGs on the blockchain. And if you really want to enjoy art, technically speaking, downloading someone else's NFT is exactly the same as owning it because you don't have any difference. It's not like owning a Picasso and owning a print of a Picasso. They're the same thing because they're both digital. That being said, of course, this adds a new functionality of collectability in this space. And honestly, quite frankly here, I feel like a lot of the hype around NFTs is because people can understand this very, very easily. It became a huge way for people to get into and get adopted into blockchain. I've also been seeing a lot of community activity in the blockchain space, that community building around a particular collection of NFTs. And it kind of mirrors almost the altcoin space a lot of times. So there's people who are kind of sweeping the floor, buying the lowest value NFTs, kind of bring the overall collection's price up. It's kind of insane because of how popular it is and because of how explosive this has been. I actually view this as a huge catalyst for more people to get in and more people to know crypto. And more importantly, of course, more people to be jealous of people who have been getting into NFTs. Because the way the market kind of worked was that, unlike with altcoins, where a lot of big funds and big money could just kind of take all the gains in that space, with NFTs it was much harder. It required either individuals to mint these NFTs, and there were restrictions. A lot of times people could only mint 1 or 2 NFTs. And also, because each NFT is unique, it's very hard for big funds to deploy lots of capital and then take all the gains from the NFT space. So the way I see it, a lot of individuals are getting very, very wealthy off the NFT space. And what's gonna happen next? Well, holidays are coming up in the States. Holidays gonna come around the world. Christmas is coming, Thanksgiving is coming, New Year is coming. Lots of family gatherings. People are gonna talk about crypto nonstop, and some people are gonna flex their major gains on NFTs, and that's going to encourage other people in their family to go in. I mean, that's the entire trend that we saw in 2017. Now, on the NFT front, I've actually done 2 things actually. So first and foremost is that because it's quite intensive, I've deployed capital in 2 funds that invest into NFTs. So it's like people who can spend ridiculous amounts of time collecting NFTs. Well, yeah, I'm just kind of funding their operation, and of course, they will give me some of the gains whilst taxing some of that too. So yeah, that's just full disclosure. I invested in 2 NFT funds, and yeah, fingers crossed on that. I feel like there's no reason not to play at this current point. And also, I've also looked at a lot of minting processes. I'm personally going to get into a lot of these as well. I'll be quite frank, last 3 months, I have not been as active as I should have in the NFT space. But moving forward, we're going to gear this channel. In fact, I know Jemmy has been waking up at like 5 a.m. Multiple times to buy NFTs. So we're going to be having a very extensive coverage here. So rest assured, guys, it's going to be going down. Now, do I think that NFTs will continue to go on forever? I don't think so. Right now, we're kind of in this kind of fairy tale initial romance with NFTs. A lot of people are discovering it for the first time, which is why there's a huge impulse. I see that continuing on a little bit beyond the holiday season, but then I can kind of see that there'll be a little bit of calming down. Here's why. The reason why is because a lot of these NFTs, whilst they're limited in the size of the collection, whilst each collection probably has less than 10,000 NFTs, the issue is people can mint more. So every day we're seeing new and more mints. So at this current point, there's still inflation in that system. So eventually at some point, that inflation is gonna beat out the demand. So that is why I see long-term wise, it's still highly speculative, and I'll be quite careful very long-term, but I feel like next few months, it's gonna be pretty exciting and we're gonna have a lot of fun. And at the end of the day, people are gonna enjoy art more, so. Talking about altcoins, this is where the action is gonna be. Obviously, all that new technology, all that new innovation, I mentioned before, next step is for Ethereum to seek its ETF. So a lot of the focus will be here, and I feel like the way we regarded altcoins have changed a lot in the past few years. Listen to me here. Initially, when it came to altcoins, they're kind of just like Bitcoin clones, similar currency main function, but the space has drastically changed over the past 2-3 months, and also over the past 2 years. Now we're all looking at smart contracts. We're building out a decentralized finance ecosystem with gaming onto it. So now the functionality has drastically improved, and this is where all the action is gathering. So am I focusing a lot on altcoins too? Absolutely, there's no reason why not. This is where the cradle of innovation is. So that's where I'm kind of piloting that portfolio. I haven't sold my Bitcoin, but I've added more towards the altcoin portfolios. Now, we've seen that explosion in Ethereum. I'm seeing explosions in pretty much all the main infrastructure coins. I definitely feel like this is where institutional investors are looking for their next big play. For all of those that missed out on Bitcoin, they're looking to aggressively go into a lot of these infrastructure projects. So if you want to learn about what altcoins I'm looking at, I just published a video yesterday about my top 10. But overall, I definitely feel like infrastructure plays are big, NFT plays are big, and of course, gaming is big. All right, lastly, it is gaming. I think gaming, the biggest change in this cycle is that we have a fully validated example of a good video game, and that's Axie Infinity. So they shot up ridiculous amounts in value, from 600,000 market cap to around $4 billion. So yeah, that's a huge unit change. Also, of course, player base wise, they're in the millions now. So gaming going mainstream, before it was a dream, now it's pretty much a validated idea. Now, Axie is just scratching the surface of what can go on in this space. Because at the end of the day, there are many more game types, many more game genres that can go on. And gaming being 2 billion people, yeah, almost everyone's a gamer. And if everyone puts $1 into gaming, that's $2 billion into a single game, right? That's ridiculous if you actually think about it like this. Blockchain gaming is gonna give gaming items a lot of weight. I think that's the biggest value. It's gonna give a lot of trading to this ecosystem. It's gonna bring financial applications to the system, and it's gonna also make things a lot faster to trade. This is good and bad. I think a lot of people, when they're covering gaming, they're like so infatuated by this. I mean, yes, absolutely, it's gonna be exciting. But at the same time, so just a tip, what I see is that there's gonna be millions of games, millions and millions and millions upon games being released for blockchain. I mean, that's the latest hype. It's also extremely easy to make games nowadays. The barrier to entry for making games is ridiculously low. You can see that by how GDC, the biggest game developer conference, the number of new people coming into the space, just making their game, having fun, and of course, probably not making that much money is quite ridiculous. So now with money flowing in, a new category of games flowing in, everyone's gonna jump on that bandwagon and not everything is gonna work. So what I'm gonna do later on is, because I do have that game design knowledge, I'm gonna share some ideas that work and some haven't, especially since I've gone through the gaming cycle. I've been to every single GDC, 2017, 2018, okay, maybe not 2020 because of the COVID, but I've been there, I've seen the scene, I've seen that scene grow. So I'm sharing with you some ideas of what did work, some didn't work, and that'll be in future videos coming up on this channel. But overall, just am I investing in gaming? Absolutely. You know, we just started talking about the 3 kingdoms. We've been talking about Meta Wars. I'm gonna do some post-mortem analysis on Axie Infinity, why it worked, why, you know, how to make it better, why there are some mechanics in there that still needs improving. And of course, I'm gonna do some post-mortems on other games where they didn't really work so well. So one of the examples, I'm sorry to throw it out there, Gods Unchained, like the way it stood, it's like it had more money thrown into it, but it didn't succeed as much as Axie, and we're gonna analyze why in the future. So anyways, lots of talking over there, but honestly, I think this is gonna be super exciting. I'm super excited for what this can do, not just in the next few months, but in the next few years. Game development cycles are not very short. Games just don't magically pop out of the ground, especially games that are designed for blockchain. I'm gonna focus on this here. And guys, that is the end of this video. So if you guys want to keep up to date about what everything is going on, some analysis, some insights into the space, make sure you check out my Twitter. We also have the Twitter for everyone else working together with me, which you have Jemmy and Nathan. I'll put those links down below. Also, if you have comments into any projects that we should be looking at, we're actually looking to scale our operations. We're gonna talk about everything more. We're gonna give more insight. So leave a comment down below what you want us to cover, what you are looking at, what you're interested in. And don't just put, oh, I'm interested in blah. Tell me why as well. It really helps with everything going on here. It just gives us a little bit of an entryway to tell us why you're excited, and it just shows your dedication too, because dedication matters. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next video. Peace.